Hi, this is Tripp Harrison, Twiford Funeral Homes, Manio, North Carolina, and Elizabeth City, North Carolina, with another video in our series, When Someone Dies. This is where we take a look at some of the logistical matters that are left behind for loved ones when someone passes away. Today's subject is Social Security and Social Security's role when there is a loved one's loss. Just as you plan for your family's protection if you die, you should consider Social Security benefits may be eligible for the survivor. And one thing I want to make clear from the beginning here is that Social Security benefits are amended from time to time, and what I am reading to you today and talking to you today about is from the spring of 2022. So it wouldn't hurt to get an update if it's sometime later when you're looking at this. Also, I present this information based on information that I've gotten through research through the Social Security Administration's website, ssa.gov. And I'll refer you to that if you have more detailed questions. But one of the things that we think is important as funeral directors here at Twiford is to help at least turn our families toward the right sources to handle some of the post-death logistics that have to be handled. And that can be a lot to navigate depending on the person's involvement in the community, or depending on their job, or depending on whatever government benefits might be eligible for them. So unfortunately, when someone passes away, Social Security requires an in-person visit to inform them of that death, unless it's done by the funeral home. One of the things that we take pride in here at Twiford Funeral Homes is that we try to take some of that out of the hands of the family because they've got enough going on. So we will contact the Social Security Administration and let them know that your loved one has passed. We want to talk about what happens if someone is on Social Security and they pass away. What about those benefits that can continue to come in? Because there is a lag period between the notification of death of an individual and the time that the checks stop coming out from Social Security. I think it's important for everyone to remember that if you're receiving, if your loved one is receiving Social Security benefits, they officially legally stop the month of the individual's death. So we suggest to our families at Twiford Funeral Home that the month of the individual's death and the following month, if you do receive benefit, or if your loved one does receive benefits, to not spend those, because Social Security will recover those back out of the bank account. So because of that lag time, you might get them, but it's a wise idea not to spend those. And your funeral director will give you further explanation, or again, you can contact Social Security. If those refunds from Social Security were received by your loved one by direct deposit, the bank or other institution will be notified by Social Security, and they will do that withdrawal of those funds after that time. So it's important to remember that as you go forward. Now, another question that comes up at the time of death is, can survivors get a Social Security check on behalf of their loved one that's passed away? Well, certain family members may be eligible to receive monthly benefits, including a widow or widower if they're age 60 or older, or 50 or older if they have a disability, a surviving divorced spouse under certain circumstances. And I won't go into all of that, but I will refer you again to Social Security for details. A widow or widower at any age who is caring for the deceased child, as long as that child's under 16 or has a disability and receiving child benefits already. An unmarried child of the deceased who is under 18 is also eligible for Social Security payments for a period of time. What about other family members? Are other family members eligible for benefits? Well, there are some situations where Social Security can be paid to surviving relatives other than the spouse and children, but Social Security changes these rules from time to time, and I think it's wise to inquire about that through the Social Security office or maybe you can get some guidance from your funeral director if there's a more specific place you can look. But it's worth a look because there might be an exception that applies to you. For surviving parents, occasionally we have a dependent parent who's at least 62, who has a child living with them, and that child passes away, an adult child, of course. Those parents may be eligible for Social Security benefits continuing after the death of their loved one. Again, Social Security office would give you the details about that, but that's also certainly worth spending a few minutes researching. Here's an interesting fact that usually shocks people that haven't dealt with the passing of a loved one in a while, and that is there is a special lump sum death payment that Social Security makes to the surviving spouse or children if there is no spouse. That was originally designed in 1954, and that amount was determined based on the cost at that time to have a funeral and burial for a loved one. And that amount in 1954 was $255. Well, we'll fast forward to 2022, and that amount has been adjusted to $255. It hasn't changed since 1954. Not sure why that is, but a lot of folks are surprised when they come in to make funeral arrangements that the benefit amount from Social Security is nowhere near the amount that it costs to have even the most minimal of dispositions, like a direct cremation. And that's a Social Security issue that we won't get into, but it certainly surprises a lot of folks. Just for comparison's sake, $255 in 1954, based on rates of inflation increase and whatnot, was equal to $2,534 in today's dollars, which would be enough in most cases to cover a very minimal cremation and logistical fees and things like that. But that number has not changed. It's still $255. $255 in 2022 would have been equivalent to $26 in 1954. So there's obviously some sort of disconnect with the idea of inflation and money value with Social Security on the death benefit. But even this benefit is subject to regulations and rules. Your funeral director will likely be able to help you determine if you are eligible. At Twiford Funeral Homes, we are very skilled and very trained in at least giving you the answers to that question, and we can also give you resources that you can go to get more information about Social Security benefits, rules, regulations, etc. Some spouse benefits or some survivor benefits can be lower than $255. In fact, their bottom number is $85. So you can't do much of a funeral for $85. If the eligible spouse or child is not currently receiving benefits, they must apply for this $255 within 2 years of the date of death. We usually encourage folks and help folks to arrange that $255 payment at the time of death or at the time of the services rendered. It's vitally important to get up-to-date details from Social Security, and we'll give you that information both in the description, and I'll give them to you at the end of this video in just a minute. For those of you watching that are not dealing with the loss of a loved one, this is a great reason to consider funeral prearrangements. I can't tell you the number of people that come into our office here at Twiford Funeral Homes, and they somehow have the idea that Social Security will play a big part in the funding of whatever arrangements they want to make. And we have a lot of last-minute changes in funeral arrangements because the amount of funds available changes. So It's really a great idea to sit down with your local funeral director. And if you're in northeastern North Carolina, we hope that that's Twiford Funeral Homes in Elizabeth City or in Manio. And at least sit down with them and get some numbers and some ideas for the cost of disposition of a loved one that's passed away, whether it's future plans for your family or yourself, or whether if you have a family member that's terminally ill and you want to sort of take some of these logistics off the plate at that time and handle them ahead of time. It's really important to get that information. So I would suggest that everybody, regardless of your age, take a minute to think about the importance of pre-arrangements. And the less we leave on the plate for our family, the kinder and gentler that experience will be for them when we pass away. And that's a great expression of love. So if you do need more information on pre-arranging funeral services, contact us. And the director of our pre-need department is Presley Ely, and he is an established funeral industry veteran. He's a funeral director, licensed funeral director, and a licensed pre-need counselor. And he can help you navigate through some of those waters to find out about pre-arrangements and get you connected with someone who can at least give you the information. Presley can be reached at the phone number 252-335-4395. That's our funeral home number, and you can call him. Or if you'd rather email him, his email address is Presley, Presley, .Ely, E-L-E-Y, at twifordfh.com. So Social Security, I've told you several times to contact them directly to get specific updates on their services. Their phone number is 1-800-772-1213. Or if you'd rather contact them or research this information online, you can go to www.ssa.gov, G-O-V. I'm Tripp Harrison. I appreciate you spending time with me today. Hopefully I gave you some fuel for thought about Social Security as well as other issues that need to be handled at the time of death. We'll address them one by one in these videos, so please like and subscribe to our videos, to our channel, and we'll keep you updated. Hit the update bell and you'll get a notification when we have a new video out. I'm Tripp Harrison in Manio, North Carolina for Twiford Funeral Homes. I appreciate you being with me today. We'll see you next time.